Good evening, Springfield. Welcome to the Township of Springfield Planning Board meeting for April 10th, 2023. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with the Sunshine Laws. Notice was published on March 2nd, 2023, and the local source was the official newspaper of the Township of Springfield for year 2023 and posted in the Annex Building on March 3rd, 2023. Let's do a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Can we do a quick roll call, please?
Yep. Committeeman Rich Huber is absent. Deputy Mayor Alex Kaiser.
Present.
Mr. David Barnett.
Here.
Mr. Brian Brendel. Here. Ms. Marissa Ruggiero is absent. Mr. Aaron Laufer. Here. Mr. Richard Cedarquist. Here. Brian Cantagallo. Here. Mr. Scott Wishna.
Here.
Vice Chair Sharon Kessel.
Here.
And Chairman Jeff Tiger.
Here.
We have a quorum. Mr. Chairman, can I just please remind everybody to speak into the microphones, because I've gotten a lot of negative feedback in the past couple months about people not projecting. Thank you.
And turn them on, too, when they...
Yeah, it's on. Nope, off. On.
Okay. Okay, the first item on the agenda is an ordinance review. Ordinance 2023-10 and 2023-11. The Madam Clerk sent it over to our board secretary to review some changes to the floodplain management regulations and amends the prior land use code for new floodplain management regulations. These are mandated by the state. Mr. Disco, will you give the board a little overview? And
Exactly right. These were mandated by the state. Every municipality, every Tier A, Tier B municipality got the mandate. It was a model ordinance, so it's just plug-in language. It was then sent to DEP for review. They reviewed it and blessed it, and it came back to us to enact. Essentially, what the ordinance does, it takes FEMA building codes and local codes, and there were inconsistencies with some language aspects of it, and they meshed it all together, and they threw in a couple other things, but it's straightforward. There's really nothing to really report as it being controversial or anything like that.
you're comfortable with it?
Very comfortable with it.
Okay. So I'd ask the board, we need to adopt, we need to send a letter to the governing body that we deem that these changes are consistent with the master plan. So I'm going to open it up for any questions or concerns. Mr. Wishner?
No.
Alex?
Nope.
Sharon?
No.
David?
Nope.
I have none. Mr. Brendel?
Nope.
Aaron?
Nope.
Mr. Cantagallo?
No.
Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to authorize our board attorney to send a letter to the Township Committee, hopefully first thing tomorrow morning, because the meeting's tomorrow night, that we've reviewed the two ordinance changes and we found it consistent with the master plan?
Motion, Barnett.
Second.
Can I have a quick roll call?
Mr. Barnett.
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Yes.
Mr.
You can all wish.
Mr. Brendel.
Yes.
Mr. Laufer.
Yes.
Mr. Cedarquist.
Yes.
Mr. Cantagallo.
Yes.
And Chair Tiger. Oh, sorry, Mr. Wishna.
Yes.
Chairman Tiger.
Yes. Okay, good. The next thing is Upfront Media, 8-2022S, 11 Edison Place, Block 210, lots 1 and 9, for preliminary and final site plan for conditional use multimedia sign. So this application is being adjourned now and carried with no further notice till May 1st, okay? We will more than likely not hear them on May 1st. The next item, we're going to discuss a special meeting. So any members of the public that are here for this application, we're carrying this application to May 1st, 7 p.m. in this very room, with no further notice required, okay? So I'm closing that part. Next item is Upfront Media reached out, given that our May 1st meeting date, we have two applications, they would like to do a special meeting. The date that I've talked to council about is May 15th. I know it's a tough date. I want to kind of poll everyone to see if that does work. Our June meeting won't work for our council to be there as well, so we have to we have to get a date in May 15th, since so if.
What's wrong with June?
June, we're moving, the next item on the agenda, we're moving June 5th to June 12th at the suggestion of the council because there's a primary the next day.
Very much appreciated from the deputy mayor's perspective for June.
So we're moving, so our June 5th meeting is moving to June 12th. So given that, so we need to do a special meeting on May 15th. I'm going to poll the board and see if anyone, it's not definite that it'll happen, we have to talk to the applicant.
How much are they paying us?
Whatever our ordinance allows for them to cover cost or whatever it might be, which I should have asked the clerk if she was here. So, Mr. Cantagallo, are you available May 15th?
Yes.
Aaron?
Looks good.
Mr. Brindell? I am. Mr. Barnett?
Yes, there's no events here.
No events? You're retired, you don't have nothing to do.
That's true.
Sharon, I know you have a conflict, we'll see what that involves. Mayor, are you good with that date?
I will try to certainly make it happen. It is budget time for the state, so.
Okay. Mr. Wishna?
I'm good for May 15th.
Swingquist? Good, okay, so reach out to the applicant. I know that our council was able to do it. Mr. Disco, you good with May 15th?
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so let's reach out to them, see if that works. If not, it'll probably have to work on June at that point in time. I mean, July at that point in time.
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Speaking to the microphone. Okay, the next application, so, and also from the board's notice that June 12th, we will move from June 5th to June 12th, 7 PM in this room. Okay? May 15th, we may end up looking at starting a little earlier, 6:30, given the size of the application. We're going to see what, we're going to check with court to see what the case is, check with the applicant, but Jen will communicate with the board. Okay? Next item on the agenda, and the last, is Front and Center Performing Arts LLC, 1-2023S, 34 Center Street, Block 706, Lot 20, preliminary and final site plan variance for the parking. This is a performing arts company. Before I entertain, I know that you're going to say something, but before I do that, just for the board's idea of what's going on, this was the DMV. The DMV submitted, the DMV closed, there was an application for Rabad. The board reviewed that application 4 or 5 months ago. That application basically is similar with this, with us as the board looking at whether it's okay to grant a parking variance for a use that's within 500 feet of township parking when they have no on-site parking. And that's what we'll talk through. Any members of the board have any questions before we open up?
Respectfully, Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself from hearing this application.
Okay, that's fine. You can feel free to take, sit in the audience.
Question about June 12th, is that 7 PM?
Yes.
Okay.
That will stay 7 PM, or Mr. Huber will
Okay.
be okay with it. And Jen will send out once the May 15th works out and everything, we'll send a update of what the dates are. Okay. We have one other item for scheduling. We can do that after the application. Go ahead, Counselor, for a very brief overview.
I've heard that before. Clara Horelick, I'm the attorney for the applicant. Is this too loud? Okay. Clara Horelick, attorney for the applicant, which, as you heard, was Front and Center for Performing Arts LLC. This is regarding the premises at 34 Center Street. As was previously noted, there was an application on this not that long ago with the Chabad, and all the situation is the same with regard to the site itself. So let me just very briefly, as requested, just let you know where we're at with this. As it turns out, this is a site that has no on-site parking. There is also no area to place on-site parking. So we've analyzed the area, and there is plenty of off-street parking, off-site parking. And what that involves is for the streets themselves, you've got Mountain Avenue, you've got Morris Avenue, that are North and South Trivet, that are very convenient to this location. In addition, as was stated, there is a municipal lot that is within 50 feet of this location. The requirement for a waiver is that the municipal lot be within 500 feet. So clearly, we fall within that category. But even if you didn't go the waiver route and you went the variance route, we can certainly show, and there is an exhibit here that our planner will show, that there is ample parking that will suit the needs of this particular applicant. And given the fact that the applicant only has classes for, the performing arts, her sessions are from really 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., this is really or at the tail end of the business day, and there's more than adequate parking, and there's 2-hour parking in a lot of the side streets, and most of the parents, we understand, and I'll have the client indicate this to you, but they really drop off and pick up. And so what we've done is asked the applicant to put together a protocol with regard to safe drop-off and pickup. which she has done, and she will explain that rather than me, but I will let you know that we intend to have it in all the tuition packets, to have it posted at the location, to send it out via email, and to do quarterly reminders so that people will know that this is the way to do it. And that is for a number of reasons. Aside from the safety of the children, we also want the parents to avoid getting parking tickets and blocking roads and causing problems for the library or anything along those lines. Further, they're currently at 95 Victory Road, which is kind of off the beaten path. This new location is ideal not only for them, but for the kids that go here. It is within walking distance of the schools. Dayton, Gordonier, Caldwell, and those that are big walkers, I guess Sandmeyer. But the bottom line is that these kids will probably no longer need a ride if they're coming straight after school, which again is a big help with regard to the parking in that area. Also, Renee has been kind enough to indicate that kids coming straight from school, she would let them come into the building a little earlier if they would like to do their homework. So, it's not going to be like, oh my God, their session doesn't start till 4, they get out at 3 or 2:30, what are they going to do? And they can always go to the library, which is right next door. So again, this is an ideal new location for this. It's a lateral move. It's not because they're bringing in, tons more people. It's because their lease is up and this is what they need to do. And just the final comment that I would like to make with regard to this, and then I'll turn it over to my witnesses, is that the bottom line for them is that they've been a real good, important source in the community, and they have a very good service that they offer. And this would allow them to not only continue, because if they lose their lease, where are they going to go? But not only allow them to continue, but to continue in an area that it looks like will really enhance the experience for the kids as well. So that having been said, what I do, one other thing, there is signage. I just want to let you know briefly that this used to be, as you all know, the DMV, which of course had a far more intensive use than Front and Center, I wish you all the best, but will ever have. Daily, day-to-day, it was, for decades. And they always they managed their parking, they managed everything, so there would be no reason why this particular applicant wouldn't fall within the category of being able to do the same. But as to the signage, there is already a board up there that had the DMV logo on it, and what they plan to do is leave the board. All they're going to do is replace the DMV logo with their logo. And that was in your packet so that you could see what it looked like.
You're going to comply with the township sign ordinance, so you're not here for any variance relief.
Well, I'm gonna let the planner actually discuss that. And we
That
do have
sign isn't compliant, I'm assuming.
Sign is compliant.
the lettering, the board is the board, and it's, even though it's non-conforming, we're not changing it. It's not taking it down, it's pre-existing. But the sign itself, we have different lettering, obviously.
Okay, that's fine. We'll hear from the planner. We're not,
Okay, so right now, what I would like to do first is to call upon the owner of Front and Center. Her name is Renee Celeste, and if you would swear her in, I would greatly appreciate it.
I do.
speak into the microphone, or Jen will take action.
Plugged in, Joe.
Go ahead.
Please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address.
Yes, my name is Renee Celeste, spelled Celeste, and my address is the business or my home?
You can give the business address, I know.
I'm a Springfield resident. I live at 23 Pine Lane, and our current building location is at 95 Victory Road in Springfield.
So, Ms. Celeste, what I would like you to do briefly is to just explain your operations, and what I want the board to know, how many employees do you have, how do you run your operation over there, your sessions, your drop-off and your pickup that you've now created this protocol for, the age categories that you have stipulated and how they would be dropped off, and any other information that you think would be pertinent for them.
Yes. So Front and Center is a performing arts center. We've been in Springfield for 20 years. We're in our 21st year of business. And we're a well-oiled machine at this point. We train children from ages 3 to 18 in acting, singing, dancing, and musical theater. And we also put on performances, which are, we rent off-site locations in theaters, so the performances don't happen in our studio. And our big goal is happy kids and happy parents, and we do that by teaching them to sing and dance and act. I have currently 5 employees. I'm one of the 5. And they come in at different times depending on the classes they teach. Our classes begin at 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and we're usually done by 9:30. And we have no classes on Fridays or Sundays, and we're there Saturdays, beginning early in the morning. The current protocol for parking where we are is large and difficult. This would be much easier, and we would have our clients turn onto Center Street coming from Morris Avenue so that they could, if they're going to drop off, which primarily we're a drop-off business, that's their free hour with their child in our care. So they would pull up and drop off on the building side so the child could get out of the car and go right in the front door. And we require that any child who is under 10 years old, the parent has to walk them in. So those people would be parking, walking their child in, and then they could leave from there.
Okay, and just a follow-up question.
I want to interrupt real quick.
Sure.
So the employees are going to park in the township lot and comply with the parking?
Correct, yeah, or on the street.
So one of the things, as you talked about, where the applicants, the people that are school kids, the parents are going to be aware through the notification, we'll have to come up with a way to make sure the employees are aware as well, to make sure that they're aware.
Yeah, I can put it in
Easy
the
enough.
employee handbook and say this is what, and they'll be trained that this is where
Or
they
you
park
could talk to the township about trying to lease a spot or two.
Right.
Afterwards.
when we're there.
Well, and in actuality, that discussion's already been had. She knows that there's permit parking allowed over there. So when the time comes, she will do that. But isn't it true that you said that several of your employees come in by public transportation?
I do have 2 teachers that come in from the city, so they'll come in on the bus, so they do not have cars. And my wife and I both teach, and we come in one car, so that's easy. So it's really not a lot of employee cars.
Okay, and I just wanted to clarify one other thing you said. You talked about your other parking area. Have you ever had an incident with parking over there, or has it been with no incident? Meaning that you don't have a problem, nobody's ever had a complaint, or you had a problem, or you've been having problem with the children over there with the parking?
No, we have no incident over there, it's just a difficult parking lot to navigate. So we do a lot of communicating with the clients on, please enter it this way, and we reiterate that throughout the year so that they know where to enter, that they have to park and walk the child in, not just let them out of the car.
And my point for asking that was because here, they've got a much better situation for drop-off, pickup, and parking. So if they were already okay over there, they should be okay over here.
Much safer.
Much safer, yeah.
And you did mention age 10 and under. Is it 10 and under for walking in, or 6 and under?
If the child is under, so 9 and under, then we want the parent to park, walk the child in. If they're 10 and over, they can drive up and walk in on their own.
Perfect. All right, let's see if the board has any questions for her. Mr. Cantagallo?
No questions.
Aaron?
No questions. Brenda? No questions.
Mr. Barnett?
Hear about the sign next?
The sign's going to be the plan.
I think this is a great use for the property.
No questions.
Very thorough applicant. Thank you. No question.
Questions? The only thing that I wanted to bring up was the landscaping that would have to be maintained. There's some bushes, as indicated in the thing, on the plans, that would be maintained by you as the...
Absolutely.
If it's not the owner of the property or it's you, someone has to maintain them.
Okay. Yep, no problem.
All right, well, thanks. Next victim.
Next, I would like to call on TJ Ricky, Thomas Ricky, to be exact of his formal name, from Stonefield Engineering. And if you would, I guess, if the attorney wants to, get his credentials, qualifications.
Do you swear affirm the testimony? Swear affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this matter shall be the truth under penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name, spell your last name, and provide your business address.
Thomas Ricci, RICCI, business address 92 Park Ave, Rutherford, New Jersey.
Do you want me to do it, or do
Yeah,
you want
you can, want me to, okay, please state your degrees and your qualifications and your licenses.
Sure. Bachelor of Arts degree from Rutgers University, master's degree in city and regional planning, also from Rutgers University, licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey, member of the American Institute of Certified Planners, been accepted for 50-plus boards throughout the state, Springfield numerous times.
Are all your licenses current?
Correct.
Active?
Yep.
Thank you.
Is Rutgers still a valid university with them on strike, or?
I saw that.
Any members of the board have any concerns with us adopting him as an expert witness? All right. So if you can focus on the sign, the traffic layout, and,
So as he stated, what I would like you to do is give them the overview from the planning perspective of how we meet the criteria and go into just a little bit of detail as they asked about the parking, the drop-off, and
Yeah, happy to. So as discussed, we are seeking that waiver for the parking. There is the municipal lot that's 50 feet. It's the lot that's directly across the street. We have went out there on numerous occasions to do our site visits. There is parking available. We went out there specifically after normal business hours, because that's when primarily this is going to be operating, and we did see there. It's mostly an empty lot. There's plenty of available parking in that lot, and you could, very easily and affordably use that Park Mobile app, pay for that. And then there's numerous on-street parking along Mountain Ave. And as Ms. Relic discussed, and the applicant, it's not even going to be a big demand for parking in this area, because it's primarily going to be pickups and drop-offs. What we imagine for the area is the smaller children that need to be walked in, maybe the parents will go and park in the municipal lot. There's sidewalks and there's crosswalks. They could walk the child across the street inside. And then the older children that, maybe don't drive yet but need to be dropped off, our intention, and the applicant has stated this, is going to go in the drop-off protocol, that they pull in, I believe it's off Morris Ave and down Center Street, so the passenger side is right at the front facade of the building, and they get out the passenger door and just slip right in, and parents drive off and pick them up when the class is finished. So there's a very low amount of time that cars are going to be idling out front during the pickup or drop off. But we don't anticipate needing any substantial amount of parking for this, especially considering the fact the intensity of the previous use and frankly the intensity of other permitted uses that would demand much higher amounts of parking. So I think this really is a very low intensity use with regards to parking and traffic, and from a planning standpoint. That being said, so we're going to signage. So the ordinance requires basically a maximum sign height, and it's not talking about the ground to the top of the sign, it's talking about the width of the sign, maximum of 5 feet. And what exists out there now is 6 feet. Basically, the applicant wants to just reface that sign with her logo. And the way that we interpreted this is this is an existing non-conforming condition, because at least in my experience, and I defer to the board planner and engineer, when you have a new tenant move into a space, whatever sign that they're utilizing, whether it's in a commercial shopping plaza or any other commercial use, that doesn't typically get re-permitted. You're able to put your logo on that sign because it's not anything that's new construction. From the best of my knowledge, I don't believe that any construction of a new sign is going to be taking place. It's just the logo that's going on the outside of the sign. So that is an existing non-conforming condition.
So it's in your opinion, if the board allowed it, would require a variance?
I believe it's an existing nonconformity, but even if they interpret it as needing a variance, I believe it still is, consistent.
I just wanted to add, we were just here a number of months ago with the Chabad application when the sign issue came up. It's the same scenario, where the only thing that was going to happen was in lieu of DMV logo, it was going to say Chabad. And we're doing the same. And at that time, which was less than 6 months ago, the board was satisfied, had no issue with that. And I do know there are review letters that came in from Mr. Disco and Mr. Hughes that, were not at issue with the idea that it's, pre-existing non-conforming.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I agree with Mr. Ricci's testimony. I mean, that's the way we interpret the situation as well. It's an existing non-conforming sign with respect to its height, but it's simply being refaced. It's not a new sign. So they have the right to do that without the board needing to grant variance relief.
Okay, so but my question is that out of our standards?
I'm sorry?
Is it that out of our standards?
Well, what's allowed is 5 feet in height, and what exists is 6 feet.
Okay, so it's not a lot out of our standards.
Right.
Okay, that's what, Mr. Disco?
And the text is certainly less than 5, but the sign by definition is the background of it.
Yeah.
So it's 6 foot tall.
Okay, but it's
Not
not
changing.
not tremendous out of our standards, and you guys are comfortable with it?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. Well, obviously, the board has to weigh in, but I wanted to get that out. Go ahead, continue with, I think the sign we've discussed, continue with the.
So the next issue is the drop-off and the pickup.
Right. So like we said, I think this use is operating primarily outside of normal business hours. And I think that the intention, like we said, is basically kids are going to be dropped off right along Center Street. I mean, quick idle times. It's, they're going to walk right in. And then I think I said this, the kids that are going to need to be walked into the building as per the protocol of the facility, there's definitely ample room to be able to do that. Ample sidewalks, crosswalks, space.
What about lighting? Lighting.
Lighting, so I was out there just before this, actually. There's one light that's mounted right on the steps, right when you walk into the entrance, and then there's 2 sconces that are mounted right next to each side of the doorway. Now, the sconces weren't on, but I'd imagine that you're able to replace those, the light bulbs if they are out, but there is, lights that are mounted on there.
We can leave it to you and our engineer to make sure that they feel it's ample lighting.
Correct, yep, we'd be happy to.
Good with that? Sure. Okay.
If I may. The DMV kept night hours, correct?
Yes.
And that's the lighting that existed when DMV was there, right? Okay, so we will certainly make sure.
10-year-old kids didn't go to the DMV.
You'd be amazed at what went to the DMV.
Okay, well, maybe, but that's fine. I think that you can work with the engineers to make it happy.
Yeah, so really to sum this up from a planning standpoint, this is a very, very low impact use when we're talking about the intensity of land uses, especially some of the other permitted retail uses in the area where you don't have control over kind of who's coming to the site and who's leaving, and the popularity and the traffic generation. So this is a low intensity use. It's going to be a massive improvement on what was there. And it's a good project from a planning standpoint. You always want to try to eliminate your vacancies. So it's basically reutilizing the existing building, bringing a little bit of tenant activity, a little bit of life to that site rather than have it sit vacant. On the flip side, it also maybe will encourage people to use that lot, which is really underutilized now, and maybe even the town can get a little bit of revenue from people parking in there because that site is sitting empty. So it's kind of a little bit of synergy between kind of the 2 lots.
So
For now.
in conclusion, is it your planning opinion that site plan approval and variance or waiver relief, whichever the board decides, would not be a substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair the intent or the purpose of the zoning plan or the zoning ordinance?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Perfect, okay. Dean and Michael, can you add to any questions or concerns before we open up to the board? I'm thinking this is a waiver as opposed to variance, but I just want to, so this way the attorney can get the right language.
The prompts of the site plan waiver, what you have.
Go ahead.
Is under 5 new parking spaces, that doesn't apply, and under a certain threshold of building addition, which doesn't apply. So it could be in a waiver.
Okay. Keenan, anything to add to the testimony before we open the board?
No, I mean, I think I generally agree with Mr. Ricci's testimony. I think one other question I might have just with respect to operations would just be, I don't know if you give a specific percentage or number, but I understand most of the participants are dropped off. Is there any percentage that does stay? Like parents stay on site to wait for the classes to end?
She's already sworn in, so.
It's difficult to give an exact percentage because obviously they may stay one day and not another day. But I would say the majority of people who do stay are with like a 5 and under or the preschool parents. Sometimes they do stay. In terms of the percentage of the overall population, I would say that's 20% of the population of the studio is in that age bracket. And they're mostly there between 4 and 5. And then after that, the kids get older and the parents go away.
Understood.
It's free babysitting, what's paid for?
Well, and I would say as
No,
somebody
no, no, it's not like babysitting.
Babysitting with a
But it would seem that high school seniors might park, because they would have cars. So if you have a lot of high school seniors, they'll probably be in the lot.
But there's adequate.
Except it's like, yeah, I was gonna, not that I would testify, but I would say it's likely that a high school senior's gonna leave their car at Dayton and then just walk across the street.
I don't want to park in the lot or on the street.
Yeah, either way, they probably won't pay, so they'll leave it at Dayton.
Yeah.
A high school seniors class is going to be later in the day anyway, so they're coming in at 7 or 8 p.m. So,
They're not going to pay anyway, so.
right.
That's what I said.
Okay, cool.
What's the maximum classroom size?
The maximum size of the studio space?
The-
In
Like, how
square
many kids
footage?
do you have in a class at any
Oh,
time?
the average class size is 12 students, but we could have up to 18 students in a class.
How many classes at once?
3 classes at once.
Okay, good. It's nice. It'd be a great addition downtown. Only if we can get the redevelopment moving there, too. I'm going to open up to the board. Any questions?
Nope, I just, very good use of that property and am happy that it will not sit vacant, so thank you.
No questions.
No, as I said earlier, I think it's a great use of the property. I'm happy that you're moving from Victory to here. It's a better location. You'll get more eyeballs. So I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Cantagallo?
No questions, good luck.
Thank you.
Aaron?
I'm good, good luck.
Mr. Brendel?
I'm good. Okay.
Okay, so seeing none, at this point, I'm going to open up this matter to the public. Anyone here to speak on Front and Center Performing Arts, application 1-2023S? Seeing none, I'm going to close this portion of the public and remand it back to the board for just any last comments before we entertain a motion. Do you want to read the conditions, if you don't mind, Counselor?
One is that the applicant or the owner is going to maintain the bushes in front of the building. Oh, sorry. The applicant's going to communicate in writing to the parents and to the students to comply with all township parking requirements. You can do it on an ongoing basis. The employees are going to park in township lots. You're going to require them to. You're going to comply with all sign ordinances, and there'll be ample lighting satisfactory to the board engineer.
So comply with the sign ordinance, and I just want to amend that. I think we said it's okay to go up to the existing sign, so.
Well, they're going to keep it at 5 feet.
No, they're gonna reuse the existing sign, which has a existing non-conforming height of 6 feet.
But the lettering is going to be limited to the 5 feet, I think. I think that's what they mean.
I don't think we have a problem with that anyway, because we don't take up more than that anyway.
Yeah, okay, you'll work it out. That's fine. Okay, so seeing that, I personally think this is a great use. Hopefully it'll bring people to downtown, encourage more people to be down there. The library's there. Hopefully there'll be other uses next door that we can get rented out and do some good stuff down there. So me, I think it's a good thing. So can I entertain a motion with the conditions Counselor read to approve application 1-2023S?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve application 1-2023S for Front Center for Performing Arts.
Second.
I'll second. I'm sorry, did I take that?
No, Mr. Cantagallo seconded.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, roll call.
Mr. Barnett?
Yes.
Mr. Cantagallo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Brendel?
Yes.
Mr. Laufer?
Yes.
Mr. Cedarquist?
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel?
Yes.
And Chair Geiger.
Yes, and I am sure the next thing that's going to come out of her mouth is that she would like to, you'd like to get started right away.
Yes,
I think the
and
board-
they have a lease terminating, so if we could waive resolution at
Yes.
their own risk, but there's already a CO on that building, so.
That's fine, subject to the building department giving you the approval to move in and you working out the lighting, adequate light. Oh, you did.
Said that.
The board have any concern about waiving site plan?
No.
So there's
Read-
really
waive
only
reading?
3 conditions, because we took off the sign,
Okay,
right? Okay, all right.
okay, that resolution will be adopted May 1st at 7 PM. Okay, that's it. So any other members of the public that wish to come before?
Thank you to the board.
No problem, good luck. Any members of the public that wish to come for any other business before this board? Seeing none, I'm going to close this and open up the board for a motion to adjourn. Oh, yeah, one more thing. So from a schedule standpoint, the board secretary came to us with some applicants that potentially would request virtual versus non-virtual. It is not our intention, as I discussed with the deputy mayor, that we're going to do virtual meetings all the time. We're back, we're here, it's cool, we're together. but there could be a meeting or two that may come up from that standpoint. So I wanted to give the board, sometimes attorneys are out of town, to wait. It won't be for large applicants, it'll be for, the idea for some of these smaller ones that we can move very quickly. So wanted to throw that out there, that's something we're gonna look into. The board attorney's already told me that we can do that. Not this board attorney, but our regular board attorney. But I still wanted to throw that out there. It's not our intention to do it whatsoever at all. If a special circumstance comes up, we will look to do that, if that's the case.
I'm not hugely in favor, but I will go along to get along.
Yes, we did move the other things.
We did.
All right, well, good. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, good. We'll see you guys on May,
Second, all in
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, we're good.